Hi, this is Joe and welcome back to the shop. In this video I'm going to show the finished cleaning on the mill. We're totally done with the wire brushing. All of the parts have been cleaned and rinsed in either solvent or an industrial cleaner. And I'll take you around with the camera here and show you some of the areas that were cleaned. And we're getting ready to prep for paint. Let me move the camera and I'll show you some areas that we finished. Here's the right hand side of the mill. It's complete. Let me pan over this way a little bit. Then let me move the camera and go over to the left side. Here's the left side of the mill. Here's the feed area of the mill where you adjust the feed of both the X and Y table movements. If you look really close, you'll notice that I used the Dremel tool to get into all the crevices and around all the handles and radiuses, and that came out really nice. Okay, let me move the table and show you the Acme screw area. And I'll slide the table back and forth, let you take a look at the ways. Here's the left-hand side. I've slid the table over to the right. I vacuumed the Acme screw area out, wiped it down with some solvent. We used some Scotch-Brite to clean all that out. Again, cleaned the underneath the dovetails on top the ways. Let me slide the table, or let me show you underneath first and then we'll slide the table the other way. Here's looking underneath the table, and again I Scotch-Brited and used solvent to clean the dovetail area. And here's looking underneath underneath where the feed area is. All that's been wire brushed. There's the feed motor, and that's all been wire brushed, so that's all clean. Let me now push the table the other way. You can take a peek at that. Here's the right hand side with the table pushed over to the left. Again, this is a continuation of cleaning the Acme screw area, and the table has also been scrubbed and Scotch-Brited and cleaned with an industrial cleaner. And the micrometer dials have all been wire brushed and cleaned. Let me move up, show some of that shaft right there is the transverse feed, and that's also been cleaned. Let me pan up here. I have a bearing splitter on there. The collet chuck hasn't been out of this mill in over 20 years, possibly longer, so I'm having trouble getting it out. So I'm going to work on getting that out. Here is the adjustment on the Z-axis. That has also been, again, everything's been wire brushed and cleaned. So I have some other video I will include of just a little bit of wire brushing with the Dremel tool to give everyone an idea of what was involved. I'm not going to show all of the wire brushing because it's boring, time-consuming, dirty, messy, and gritty. So I'm showing you the finished product here, but I do have a clip that I'll show here in a little bit. We're doing still a lot of wire brushing, but we're getting down to the detail areas. I wanted to show you my configuration here. I have a little Dremel with a cord attachment on here, and I have to say that this configuration is really nice. In one of my earlier videos I mentioned you can get an assortment of Dremel wire brushes. I believe I paid around $15 for these. There's 60 assorted sizes, and I absolutely love this. When you're doing any kind of wire brushing, make sure you wear your respirator, because you don't know how old the paint is, and there could be lead paint that was used in some of the earlier coats. In this case, this mill had about seven coats of paint, and some of the paint was orange, and from what I've been told and reading some of the forums, that is a lead-based paint. So I don't have my respirator on now so I can talk to you, but make sure you always wear your respirator when you're doing any kind of wire brushing, or you know, I haven't done any blasting with air because I just don't want to put that particulate in the air. But I'll show you here how it works. It's really nice. You just come in with the wire brush and you use the appropriate wire brush for the area, and this just really works nice. I really like it. Takes off several layers of paint and works really nice in the tight areas where there's a lot of crevices and radius parts and things. So I'm just working on a lot of the smaller areas now. The larger flat surfaces were done with a twisted stainless steel wire brush, and I really like those over the loose strands of wire, because those break off really quickly and stick everything. All your clothes get peppered with the little stainless steel wires, and they stick into you and it hurts. So I really like the twisted stainless steel wire brushes. They fit on like a 4.5-inch grinder. So the majority of flat surfaces were done with that, and some smaller drill wire brushes that mount onto a drill. And now I'm getting down to again needing to do some of the very restricted areas here on the table and on the side of the knee. And again, I really like working with the small Dremels. I also took some time today to finish painting the bottom portion of the motor. I'm going to mount the motor in, and I don't want to pull it out again to paint. So I'm painting the bottom. I've also painted up on the mill head the area where the motor mounts in. That way I can mount the motor and then I don't have to keep on pulling it out to paint around that area. So that's been finished as well. So really the only thing we have to do now is I'm going to wipe everything down with acetone, and we're going to start priming. Then we can start painting. Probably put 2 coats of primer and 2 coats of the industrial gray paint on the mill. And I started doing some assembly, but most of the assembly has to be done after the paint has been applied. One area that I did have problems with was when removing the thrust nut on the X-axis Acme screw. The threads on this thrust nut were galled, and as a result I had to twist this off, and it flattened all the threads, so pretty much destroyed that area. This is 3/4 of an inch, 16 threads per inch. I took a tap, tried to clean this up, and ran the tap through there, and it was just too far gone, so way too wide of an opening. So I'm going to, I purchased some mild steel, and I'm going to fabricate a new thrust nut, thread it with the same 3/4 by 16. Then I'm going to try to single point thread this again, but I'm concerned that because the threads were mashed down, when I go and try to retap that, it's going to just tear up. So what I'm going to do then, I'll take it over and I'll TIG weld a layer of steel back up, which will hopefully then weld the base metal on this shaft pretty firm. Then I can turn it down and then single point thread it and hopefully fix that the Acme screw here. That's pretty much it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video this week. More than likely today out in the shop, it's Sunday, I'm going to start doing some painting. I may check some of the gearboxes and do some cleaning. I don't know how greasy and grimy the residue oil has been. Again, this thing has been sitting for 20 years. So I'm going to take one of the covers off the gearbox and probably drain the oil, clean it out with some solvent, and then after it's all painted, then I'll fill up in all the reservoirs and start oiling everything. So hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.